Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan, and we begin this edition of The Right Stand with just news coming through. Our Security Affairs Editor Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us these inputs, where a fresh front towards the eastern parts of our boundaries is being opened by Pakistan. This entire war by proxy against Bharat. Pakistan wants to derail Bharat through the eastern borders, and this is using this strife-ridden Bangladesh, which does not have any clear leadership in sight. Under the interim advisor and the stand-in leader, Mohammad Yunus, there seems to be a free run for radicals. Now, the ISI strategy is to use Rohingya migrants. We are given to understand that they are very keen to set up a terror training camp somewhere on Bangladesh soil, very close to Bharat's borders. Top intelligence sources have further told CNN News 18 that Pakistan is eyeing Rohingya groups who ran away from Myanmar in 2017 after attacking the Myanmar army. More than 9.5 lakh stateless Rohingya refugees and migrants who have been residing in the Ukhia and Teknaf sub-districts of Cox's Bazar are currently in the radar of the Pakistani ISI and their elements, and also some of these jihadi outfits, and somewhere they seem to be getting some level of training. These areas are becoming zones of crime and have also become dens of illegal drug smuggling. Now the ISI is using these elements within these 9.5 lakh. That's not a small number. Among these refugees and migrants, there are quite a few who are now being trained, tasked to infiltrate into Bharat and thereafter foment trouble on our soil. And this is all happening between now, over the next 3 to 4 months, that is building up to Independence Day, through the summer, a summer of strife in Bharat, somewhere that is being planned, we are given to understand. We'll try and go across to Professor Brahmachalani, strategic affairs expert, in a bit, but we've got more news coming through. Let's just share this with our viewers. Now, apart from these Rohingya Muslims, the Ansarullah Bangla and Hizbut Tahrir are also under training in these areas in Cox's Bazar. Terror training camp in the Naikongchari region, which is about 20 kilometers from Cox's Bazar. There is a possibility that this is already underway. Ex-Pak Rangers, former Bangladesh border guards, are imparting training to these radicals. That's what CNN News 18 has learned. And we have also accessed an old video of the Ansarullah Bangla team chief, Jashimuddin Rahmani, where he's seen threatening Bharat. This is some time ago, but soon after this regime change. Listen in.
বাংলাদেশের দিকে খবরদার কোনো নজর দিবে না। বাংলাদেশ সিকিম ভুটান নয়, এদিকে যদি চোখ তুলে তাকাও সে চোখ উপড়ে ফেলা হবে, এদিকে যদি পা বাড়াও সে পা ভেঙে দেওয়া হবে, এদিকে হাত বাড়াও হাত কেটে নেওয়া হবে।
So such terrorists are being openly allowed to threaten Bharat. Threat of gouging eyes, chopping hands are being allowed. And this is a very dangerous signal of how radicals are completely taking control in certain parts and portions of Bangladesh and the operations. This Cox's Bazar region, 9.5 lakh refugee migrants, ex-Pak Rangers, the exchange of information and also coming and going of the Pak ISI head, the Pak army chief, the top military officials from Bangladesh going to Pakistan, and these radicals getting a free run. And this entire route from Pakistan to Bangladesh, to Nepal, and from Nepal into Bangladesh, and from Bangladesh across the borders into West Bengal, and on the other side Tripura, Mizoram. These are all areas where there is a huge spread, and they're just about 20 kilometers from Cox's Bazar. There is this terror training camp that is currently on. Professor Brahmachalani with us. Professor Brahmachalani, some startling and very, very worrying trends that we can witness. And we don't need 9.5 lakh refugees, migrants. A lot of them may not even be part of this, but a few hundreds, a few thousands, if they are getting radicalized, if they are coming into Bharat, and if they are operating as sleeper cells, ready to strike in this summer between April and August. then we have some serious concerns.
What's happening in Bangladesh is a security nightmare for India. We have the powerful trio of the military, jihadist forces, and the US deep state that are backing an unelected regime. An unelected regime that has let loose convicted Islamists and terrorists and is making judges do its bidding. In this situation, even the army chief, General Wakar Zaman, has today spoken out about the disunity. He even mentioned disunity, the lack of unity in the armed forces. Of course, he mentioned the lack of unity in the police and paramilitary forces, but his reference to lack of unity among the armed forces was quite significant, and his warning that if we continue on this path, then the very sovereignty of Bangladesh would be endangered. So, in other words, even the army chief, who was instrumental in packing Hasina off to India and installing Yunus as head of an interim regime, even the army chief's patience is now beginning to be tested by the sharp surge in crime, by the deteriorating law and order. As he himself said, the law and order has been deteriorating rapidly, and the last 7 months in particular have seen Bangladesh really descend into violent jihadism, where the state, the government, is actually, in a way, tacitly encouraging the Islamists to go on a rampage, attacking Hindu shrines, Sufi shrines, targeting minorities in every way possible, setting ablaze their homes and businesses. All this is happening even today, even though such attacks have declined in recent weeks or the last 3 months. Yet even just this week, there have been attacks on Hindus, on Sufi shrines. It underscores the fact that Bangladesh, as a nation, will find it very difficult to revive its economy, given the fact that there is such lawlessness in the country.
Right. I'm also going to bring in the Pakistan angle, but you talked about the Bangladesh Army Chief, so let's just play that out also. In fact, the Bangladesh Army Chief, Wakaruzzama, is actually hinting at a coup, a possible coup in Bangladesh. Listen into what he's saying.
যে আমি সতর্ক করিনি, আমি আপনাদের সতর্ক করে দিচ্ছি। আপনারা যদি নিজেদের মধ্যে ভেদাভেদ ভুলে একসাথে কাজ না করতে পারেন, নিজেরা যদি কাদা ছোড়াছুড়ি করেন, মারামারি কাটাকাটি করেন, এই দেশ এবং জাতির স্বাধীনতা সার্বভৌমত্ব বিপন্ন হবে। আমি আজকে বলে দিলাম, নাইলে আপনারা বলবেন যে আমি আপনাদের সতর্ক করিনি। আমি সতর্ক করে দিচ্ছি আপনাদের। আমার অন্য কোনো আকাঙ্ক্ষা নাই, আমার একটাই আকাঙ্ক্ষা, দেশ এবং জাতিটাকে একটা সুন্দর জায়গায় রেখে ছুটি করা। I had enough. Was last 7-8 months I had enough. আমি চাই দেশ এবং জাতিকে একটা সুন্দর জায়গায় রেখে।
I've had enough over the last 7-8 months. I am warning you, Shatarko kore dicche. I'm giving you a warning and I am cautioning you. That's what he's saying, that the independence and the sovereignty of the nation should not be challenged. I have no aspirations personally, but I want the country to be and the people to be seen in safe hands, and that democracy must be restored. I've had enough. So somewhere he's saying, don't hold me responsible tomorrow for how things play out. When I made you the president and we thought we will work together, that was the whole aspect. So he clearly seems very, very frustrated. Now, is he now hinting that there are external forces controlling the shots? Is he saying that conduct elections right away? Or is he saying, I'm going to take over and there will be martial law in the country? Because he himself is admitting that things are going astray. But Professor Chelani, how do you look at what Wakaruzzama is saying and compare that with the top Bangladesh official going to Pakistan? The Pak army chief and the ISI heads coming to Bangladesh, and these radical outfits now collaborating.
Well, looking at the larger picture, Bangladesh has a long history of coups and counter coups. But General Wakaruzzama is the man who was instrumental in the regime change in Dhaka. So today, it'll be difficult for him to turn his back on the very regime that he has helped install. He is expressing his frustration over something that is too obvious to be ignored. There is popular unrest in Bangladesh. People are taking to the streets. Even in Dhaka, the crime has spiraled in such a manner that local residents who really come out in protest, ordinary people, ordinary middle class people, are coming out in the streets and protesting. So he's stating what is so obvious, that the lawlessness in Bangladesh is going to unravel the country, in effect. So he's warning that this kind of rioting, violence, infighting, and chaos, and these are exactly his words. You know, he used the word chaos, infighting, rioting, violence. He's warning that this will tear the country apart. So he's not saying anything that is new or out of place. He's saying what is obvious to anybody. Looking at what's happening in Bangladesh, and even the Bangladesh media has been reporting on all these things about how even in Dhaka, muggings, daylight robberies have become so rampant that at night, in some localities, local residents have to conduct night vigils. That's the state of affairs in Bangladesh.
But the Pakistanis getting in, trying to send people via Bangladesh, the porous borders, into India from our situation. Yes, there is a security situation because of what's happening in Bangladesh, but is that also going to bring in a huge internal security threat for us, Professor Brahmacharlani? Are you worried that those sleeper cells, they've not been able to push from the LOC and from the borders there since what's happened in Jammu and Kashmir could be activated? So there is Punjab on the one hand, that they are seriously trying to pollute. And then we could see some things manifest on our eastern side, be it West Bengal, Tripura, Manipur, Mizoram.
Anand, you're right to express that concern. The fact that under General Zaman's leadership, Bangladesh has revived its military ties with Pakistan. ISI delegation was in Dhaka, obviously for what? To discuss how they can actually use Bangladesh to destabilize India. The Bangladesh Navy chief was attending a Pakistani military exercise the other day. So all these exchanges that have now begun after many, many years between Bangladesh and Pakistan suggests that under General Zaman's leadership, Bangladesh is seeking to cozy up to Pakistan with the aim of hurting India. And that brings me to the larger and more fundamental question. What is India's strategy? What is India seeking to, how is seeking India to ensure that Bangladesh does not become a security nightmare for India? I don't see a clear strategy, a clear vision. For example, we are not employing a leverage that we have. Bangladesh depends on India for its daily essentials. Is supplying the daily essentials to Bangladesh without any disruption. We have not leveraged our strengths. We have not tried to even exert any meaningful pressure on Bangladesh. All we have sought to do is to keep repeating the line that that Bangladesh should seek good neighboring ties with India, that India is committed to positive, constructive relations with Bangladesh, but repeating the same lines again and again, even as it's very clear that Yunus is orchestrating an anti-India sentiment in Bangladeshi society and even compelling the Bangladesh media to carry anti-India.
There is something, some change, some shift which is visible, because after the foreign minister, you had the NSA also look at, and those pictures have come out where they're looking at the genocide victims, Hindu, and other minorities in Bangladesh, the way they were treated and what happened. There was an exhibition, and also as part of the Vivekananda International Foundation, he was present there, and they did address, and they are making that known. There is a little bit of a shift, but is that enough? Is that timely? Does much more need to be done given what is developing in Bangladesh? And how much of it is going to snowball or spill over into our borders? That's also, we have to very closely wait and watch. But clearly there is some mischief that is afoot, and everybody who has a certain inimical intention towards Bharat and wants to destabilize us is trying to see what they can do to stir the pot. Professor Brahmachalani, thank you very much. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Have to move on here on The Right Stand. Quickly now, shifting tack and changing focus to Delhi. Chief Minister Rekha Gupta has tabled the CAG report that flagged loss of 2,000 crore rupees due to the Aam Aadmi Party's government liquor policy. The audit tabled by the new Rekha Gupta-led administration examined the regulation and supply of liquor in Delhi over the last 4 years, from 2017-18 to 2020-21. When Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party was in power. Now, the report cited licensing violations, multiple discrepancies in how the excise department monitored and regulated liquor supply, had a total financial impact that was estimated approximately 2,026.91 crore rupees. The audit found lack of transparency in pricing that led to revenue losses. Audit found that discretionary pricing of liquor was allowed. This discretion enabled price manipulation, reducing sales and impacting excise revenue. The audit also found that the excise department's regulatory efforts were ineffective in preventing liquor smuggling and revenue leakages. The audit further found significant weaknesses in the excise department's enforcement, undermining both penalties for violations and deterrence. The 2021-22 excise policy aimed to prevent monopolies, ensure equitable liquor distribution, promote transparency, however, saw several flaws in its formulation and implementation that led to significant revenue losses and regulatory failures. Major exemptions with revenue implications were granted without cabinet or the LG's approval, violating procedural requirements. The policy structure encouraged monopolization and cartel formation by limiting the number of wholesalers and imposing exclusivity arrangements between the manufacturers and wholesalers. Retail licensing was also concentrated, reducing competition. Entities holding licenses across supply chain raised concerns about brand favoritism. The government lost 890 crore by not retendering those surrendered licenses, and 941 crore due to exemptions given to zonal licensees. Despite a clear contract terms, 144 crore waiver was granted to licensees citing COVID restrictions, further reducing revenue. Additionally, incorrect security deposit collections led to 27 crore in losses. The total implementation failures resulted in a further revenue loss of 2,002 crore between 2021-22. Now, a political face-off has erupted over the CAG report between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. Listen in.
सारे विपक्ष को पता था कि CAG की रिपोर्ट आ रही है, इसलिए उन्होंने कल से ही माहौल बनाना शुरू किया और ये CAG की रिपोर्ट में आया है कि 2002 करोड़ रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार उसमें जितना मैंने पढ़ा है।
आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार ने लगातार और आज आम आदमी पार्टी सरकार की इस बात पर CAG की इस रिपोर्ट ने मोहर लगा दी है।
और शर्मनाक बात यह है कि केजरीवाल और उनका गैंग का कोई आदमी इस पे मुंह खोलने को तैयार नहीं है। ये रिपोर्ट आज टेबल हुई है, ये सार्वजनिक होगी, दिल्ली की जनता के एक एक व्यक्ति तक जाएगी।
जहाँ तक इसकी बात है तो जांच तो सारा इन्होंने किया, सब कुछ खंगाला इन्होंने। देखो हम तो हर जांच के लिए तैयार हैं।
One of the questions that remains is, why did you first say that the new excise policy is the best thing for Delhi, and the moment the LG ordered investigations, why did you revert to the old policy? There were flaws in the old policy, there are flaws in the new policy. If you were to take 2017 to 2021, there's a revenue loss of 2,200 crore and then a further revenue loss of another 2,000 crore between 21 and 22. That's the overall estimate. Karan Verma, political analyst with us, Ravi Srivastava, political analyst with us, and Anand Ranganathan, author with us. My namaste to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Dr. Ranganathan, your thoughts. This is just the first of the 14 that are going to come. Has the Aam Aadmi Party been caught with its hand in the till?
It's not just a hand, it is hands plus 2 additional limbs. And it's not a till, it is Kuber ka khazana. Anand, but let me just say this. Liquor scam to jhanki hai, Sheesh Mahal abhi baki hai. I'm afraid you need half an hour more to discuss the CAG report on Sheesh Mahal as well. That is so much more explosive because liquor scam everyone knew and was talking about for 2 years. Sheesh Mahal revelations are explosive and I'll come to that in a minute. Just 10 seconds I would need on that. But I want to talk a little bit about the reasons why CAG report is important. And here, AAP is doused in hypocrisy and I'll tell you why. Remember back in 2001, Mr. Kejriwal was the same guy who was demanding the resignation of the sitting Prime Minister Manmohan Singh because he claimed that he had indulged in corruption. Why? Because he quoted the CAG reports. So by the same standards, when you quote CAG reports, even Kejriwal would have indulged in corruption. Now, I don't know how and why AAP can get out of that problem. Second, remember back in 2012, Kejriwal was the same guy who was demanding the resignation of the sitting Chief Minister, Sheila Dikshit, because he claimed that she had indulged in corruption and used the proceeds of crime. But when none other than the High Court claimed that Kejriwal conspired to use and conceal quote unquote the proceeds of crime, Kejriwal was the same guy who refused to resign for long. And it was not just the High Court, Anand. Here are the details of the CAG report. Loss due to not obtaining timely permission, 941 crores. Loss due to not retendering surrendered zones, 890 crores. Loss due to incorrect granting of favors to licensees, 144 crores. Loss due to incorrect collection of security deposits, 27 crores.
27
and
crores.
CAG report, please, Raviji, I did not, please, just allow me to finish. Remember, your turn will come.
Because it has been repeated 100 times already, so you also carry on.
Anand, can I please continue?
Yeah,
I don't know.
please complete.
Yeah,
ठीक है
thank
सर,
you.
100 times 100 was first time. एक बार और 101 के शुभ नंबर. Please let him complete.
ये पहला प्रोग्राम है, इतना रैटल मत होइए. मैं पहली बार अभी
मैं नहीं हो रहा, मुझे क्यों रैटल होना भाई?
Don't. I think what you did was gamesmanship there, Ravi Srivastava, and it was unnecessary. He didn't interrupt you. He doesn't interrupt you. I think, yeah, let him complete.
He gets unlimited time up to 10 minutes.
Let him complete. Let him complete.
I mean, let's have some kind of a balancing also in the debate.
Let him
He
complete.
gets 2 minutes. Let me also get 2 minutes.
Let him complete. Let him complete. We can all have our Maggi noodles later, but let him complete.
No, I have no issues
Let
on
him
that.
complete.
You carry on. You finish up the program with him.
No, let him complete.
Anand, I think we are all mistaken. They weren't 14 CAG report. They were 15th CAG report. 15th was on Ravi Srivastava ji. तभी इतना बौखलाए हुए हैं. अरे घबराओ नहीं भाई, आपका टाइम भी आएगा. Look, if I can continue, I won't take more than 30 seconds. Please remember, CAG report comes at the back of the Supreme Court that said, and I quote, there was conspiracy on drafting new excise policy. It was meant to help those who gave kickbacks. PMLA offence was supported by material evidence. VAT was reduced to 1%. 7% excess commission was given, amounting to 338 crore loss to the exchequer. AAP forced a company to give up its 20% market share in favor of another company. This is a money trail being established by the Supreme Court, by the High Court, and by the CAG report. And now let us see कि इनके गरिबान में क्या है रवि श्रीवास्तव जी जो कि इतना बौखलाए हुए हैं.
Ravi Srivastav ji, I think we should steer clear of personal attacks and this one. And he plies his wares in Mumbai. He's got nothing to do with Delhi now. But the point is that I would like to see the 2021, the peak of COVID cycles 1, COVID cycle 2, 96 lakh rupees के पर्दे तब लगे हैं करण वर्मा. 96 lakh rupees. That money, had it been rerouted to purchase when they said कि सर हमारे पास ऑक्सीजन खरीदने के पैसे नहीं है जी, हमारे पास पीपी किट खरीदने के पैसे नहीं है जी, हमारे पास इसके पैसे नहीं है जी. All right, दिल्ली की जनता माफ कर देती. Had you taken kickbacks and rerouted that money towards the दिल्ली की जनता for getting medicines and oxygen. So that is also something which will be remembered by the people of Delhi. You were building your Sheesh Mahal at a time when Delhi was suffering. On the one hand, you sat there clueless how to distribute the oxygen, how to manage this, and all you were doing is trying to fuel the panic. And on the other hand, you were busy building that Sheesh Mahal and also robbing the exchequer, denying it of revenue as per the CNAG report. Karan Verma.
So, Anand, we've had corruption cases in the past also across the political spectrum, but none so brazen and so insensitive. I mean, when Arvind Kejriwal, what the CAG report has told us, the way he's flouted every norm, as if he felt that he's invincible. I mean, these are norms that even a layman could have seen that he's flouted, and he did it because he felt that he can get away by not tabling the report. He can get away by building a Sheesh Mahal during peak COVID, as you rightly said. He didn't care because he had got repeated mandates. Anand, right now, I feel Delhi is pretty much healing now that he has been voted out. And Delhi also needs to reflect how gullible or how, vulnerable we can be, that we can elect such a person and be conned so easily. Gave him heavy mandates one after the other. And that is what emboldened him. Anand, 144 crores he waved off without following the rules, without even getting a cabinet approval. The guts to do that in Sheesh Mahal. I come from a business family. Whenever there is a tender, the estimated value, the tendered value, there's a minor difference, 10, 15%, 20% up. This man, the final value went up by 240%. Can you imagine this? This shows the brazenness. It's as if he was laughing at the people and the system and telling them, you can't get me. Do whatever you want to, you can't get me. It is this insensitivity and brazenness that stands exposed, and it must make us reflect today. How did we come here?
Yeah. No, Raviji, what happens is, you would say other politicians are corrupt, other political parties may be doing this, that, thereafter. But the fact is, this was a man who put his integrity on the table and told the people of Delhi, I will clean up dirty politics. I will not do what others are doing. And that's where perhaps this whatever has happened and whatever is coming out, all right, it may say you may want to pull out 3 zeros out of it, 4 zeros out of it. You may want to reduce that number from 2,000 crore to 100 crore. But whatever it is, it's cheated the people of Delhi. And that was something Mr. Kejriwal and his party promised they will never do. Raviji.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, some gentleman said, I normally don't name the co-panelist, I say the panelist. One panelist said that he was so sure that he can con the people of Delhi for 2 times or 3 times. Unfortunately, we have been conned by one person for 3 times now, and he continues to be in the politics and he is ruling the country. So the getting conned is in our blood, and we get conned every day. Now, as far as this particular CAG audit report is concerned, this is only a post-mortem and an autopsy, because it has got nothing to do now, no value, because the policy was brought because the liquor was being smuggled from UP and Haryana into Delhi. The same policy is exercised by Karnataka government and Mr. Ravi Khanna or someone like that, who was the excise commissioner who brought it from Karnataka, and it was implemented in Delhi. I am not saying that everything is fair in the policy or everything is right in the policy, but that's not the matter of the Honorable Supreme Court is examining that. And my friend, other panelist, is quoting the observations of the Supreme Court. My dear sir, you should wait till the
Sir, written
final order comes. Please, courts are useless. Courts are useless. I am telling, the observations are useless. Finally, it is what happened is important. Either the person is convicted, either the person is found guilty, or he is innocent. There cannot be any third of the dimension to this. Okay. Now this policy, let you keep on bringing every day, because media is deprived of the content. So every day one report will come like this, and you have got material for another 14 days. Because another 14 reports are pending. So let it come. And as a responsible and a seasoned anchor, I would request you, Mr. Anand Narasimhan, do not use the word Sheesh Mahal. Please call it a CM's residence.
It is not the
You should not at least be carried away by the word.
It is not.
As the CAG written
No,
as
it
Sheesh
is
Mahal.
not. See, one minute.
As the CAG written as Sheesh Mahal.
1 minute, sir.
As the Supreme Court said it as Sheesh Mahal.
So they don't need to say. They don't need to say it. They don't need to say it.
Then why should we?
No, but for the Aam Aadmi, it
Then
looks
why
like a.
should we?
No, why shouldn't
No,
I?
it is not, sir.
Why shouldn't I, sir? You are welcome to. No, 1 minute, sir. Mr. Ravi Srivastava. Mr. Ravi Srivastava. Now hear me out.
Why the BJP did
You
not
are
show it?
welcome to have your
Why even
opinion.
yesterday it was
1
not
minute,
shown
sir.
it?
1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. You are welcome to have your opinion, just like Mr. Ranganathan, Karan Verma, myself. You may choose to call whoever, whatever you decided. I didn't interrupt you, because you have the right to do that in an electoral democracy and in a nation that we are, as long as we are not disrespectful. Secondly, sir, what I choose to call, Karan chooses to call, Anand Ranganathan chooses to call, is not for you to decide. You can have your opinion, but you can't impose your opinion on me or anybody, any of our viewers. No, sir. No, sir. That is where. That is where. That is where. No, sir. You call it, sir. You call, sir. That is your choice. You are choosing to call it. You call it. You call it, sir. There is a distinction. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. Your shouting and heckling is not going to help. My simple point is, sir. My simple point is, sir. If you are trying to get personal with me and trying to get into a certain level, I will also respond in an equally manner, but outside legally, sir, I'll take you to court for deliberately trying to defame me. I will not do that. I have respect for you, Mr. Ravi Srivastava, so let's not cross the line. My point is, sir, did I put a gun on Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and say that I don't need a bodyguard and I will use only Wagoner? Did anybody, any of us or any of the voter of Delhi put a gun to his head to say very committed that he is going to shun all that other political parties? No, 1 minute. Now you let me complete. Did he say? No, he did. My point is, sir, at the peak of COVID, when Delhi was struggling, its chief minister was busy building a house that has 96 lakh rupees worth of curtains.
He was not.
96 lakh rupees. Sir, this house has been built in that period. This house is on record. This house on record that this was being built. Second, no. So what? He was getting it built, right? He was getting it built. The PWD was working under his instructions. It was a design. It was a design that was approved by him. It was a design that was sanctioned by his cabinet, and it was a design that has seen a 240% escalation from 6 point something crore rupees to 45 crore rupees. My point. No, sir. Your shouting is not going to help. My simple point is, sir.
But your allegations are wrong.
My point is, sir, the allegations are not wrong. That's the estimated value.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you want the India against corruption face outside of Anna Hazare to sit on a gold-tinted, gold-plated, automated commode, and that was being installed at a time when people did not even have oxygen to breathe in Delhi. So that's the question that people are asking, and that's where probity in politics is being questioned. Dr. Ranganathan, final comment. I have to wind up.
Yes, I hope you will give me 1/10 of the time that you have given my elder brother and my very dear Raviji. I really respect him, and I'll tell you why I respect him. He is a genuine crusader against corruption. If you remember back in 2011, and I'm not saying it, I mean it, Raviji knows it as well. Both Arvind Kejriwal and Ravi Srivastava ji co-founded Aam Aadmi Party on the back of fighting corruption. और 10 साल बाद देखिए अरविंद केजरीवाल अपने घर में 96 लाख के पर्दे लगा रहा है और रवि जी अपनी फटी धोती लगा रहे हैं एज कर्टन्स. ये हालत होता है, ये करप्शन क्रूसेडर होता है जो. थैंक यू फॉर लाफिंग. नंबर 2, the question is not, please give me 30 seconds, Anand, please give me, because it's important. I am no longer going to ask questions of Kejriwal or Aam Aadmi Party. They are gone. As a citizen, And I implore you and everyone else to ask questions of Bharatiya Janata Party and the central government. And here I'll put my good friend Karan in the dock. Yes, many people are already saying today कि CAG report आ गई है, ये तो जेल जाएगा. Karan, my good friend, please tell me 2011-2012 में भी एक CAG रिपोर्ट आई थी 2G पे 1.76 लाख करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ था, कोलगेट पे आई थी, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स पे आई थी. मुझे एक आदमी का नाम बताइए जो जेल गया है.
उसका एक ही डिफरेंस है सर कि उस वक्त जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसीज थी, तो प्रोसिक्यूशन थी और जो इनिशियल चार्जशीट जिसके बेसिस पे सारे कोर्ट्स पे लड़ाई होती है, वो सब एक अलग सरकार के अंडर थी. इस वक्त यू शुड टर्न अराउंड एंड आस्क that the prosecution, because the court eventually found what? That the initial investigation had lacuna, and Mr. Andimuthu Raja, who had by-hearted the entire document of the charge sheet that was filed by the lower court, was able to find so many loopholes that there was no conviction, because once you go to the higher courts, you got to argue based on what's been actually filed. That's the legal process. Now you're fair to ask, what will the BJP do? Because sarkar bhi unki hai, police bhi unki hai, bureaucracy bhi unki hai, administration bhi unka hai, sab kuch unka hai. Now will you really bring the corrupt to the dock if you claim that they're corrupt? I have to. Yes. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
That's the last one.
No, sir. I don't think even for Vyang, even for debate's sake, we should say what you just said.
Sir?
Please. No, sir. No. If you have one naya paisa of proof, put it down here. Otherwise, sir, I will ask the honorable courts to take cognizance, and this is outright, deliberate, open defamation on a national channel, which I do not subscribe to, sir. Of our courts. I will not subscribe to that, sir. No, sir. Irresponsibly or even in jest, you should not make a comment that you just now said. With due respect. I have to wind up on that note. Thank you very, very much. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we turn the spotlight towards Tamil Nadu, where the Chief Minister is ignited after language. It's the delimitation debate. Stay with us.
आपके घर के खाने
Our focus is on achieving a ceasefire as soon as possible and ultimately a permanent peace. My meeting with President Macron today was another important step forward in that sphere, because he's been very much involved right from the beginning in trying to get it over with, and we're going to get it done. I believe that Emmanuel agrees with me on many of the most important issues. Chief among them is this is the right time. It may be the only time, we're working on deals right now, transactions right now, and in particular, the big one is to get the war stopped, whether it's ceasefire or direct to an agreement.
I think it's good to have discussion. I think it's useful to have negotiation. I think it's super important to go to the peace. But my strong point was to say, let's try to get something first which can be assessed, checked and verified, and let's be sure that we build sufficient guarantees on the short run. And this is where we are ready to be engaged. As for France, a lot of my European colleagues are ready to be engaged. But we do need this American backup, because this is part of the credibility of the security guarantees, and this is our collective deterrence capacity. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for the time.
We want peace. And I think the initiative of President Trump is a very positive one. Be careful, because we need something substantial for Ukraine, but for the security of Europe and France. And second, let's work together on the future to preserve security guarantees, meaning to be sure that this peace will be respected by Russia. First, to have a truce. I think it could be done in the weeks to come. During this period of time, we negotiate on security guarantees, land and territories, and it will be the responsibility of the Ukrainian president reconstruction. The US will have the deal on critical minerals and rare earths and so on.
Fine.
So we have to negotiate with the US, with the allies, with Ukraine, which type of security guarantee makes sense. It could be first, increase the capacities of Ukraine to maintain a strong army. We worked very hard together with the UK Prime Minister to have a French-UK proposal to say we are ready to send troops, not to go to the front line, not to go in confrontation, but to be, in some locations, being defined by the treaty, as a presence to maintain this peace and our collective credibility with the US backup and the US backstop. We didn't tariff the US. We want to cut red tape for us as Europeans, and it will simplify the life of your companies, fine. But I think the solution in this very moment is not to increase tariffs. Why? Because the emergency is to increase our defense and security expenditures. I understood your priority is to put tariff on China because President Trump said they are unfair with us. Come on, you cannot have a trade war with China and Europe at the same time.
Thank you very much.
Back live, and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's latest statement citing delimitation concerns has now sparked off yet another fight. He's announced at an all-party meeting that's being convened on the 5th of March to discuss the impact of delimitation of parliamentary constituencies in the state. In all, 40 registered political parties have been invited to this meeting. The Chief Minister appealed to all political parties in Tamil Nadu to take part in this meeting and raise their voices unitedly. TN BJP Chief K. Annamalai has hit back, contending that when TN Chief Minister Stalin knows the whole of Tamil Nadu has rejected their argument except a few paint dabba carrying DMK cadre on third language for our children studying in TN government schools, similar to the schools run by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's family. He now wants to shift the narrative to his imaginary fear of Tamil Nadu losing in the delimitation of seats. What a shame and downfall of the DMK is what he said. PM Narendra Modi had clearly said delimitation, if and when it happens, will be favourable to all, including the southern states. So why this fear-mongering is the question that he has asked. Now, is this deliberate, or is it a concern raised, or is it deliberate fear-mongering? Uma Anandan, leader of the BJP with us, Pulla Rao, political analyst with us, and Anand Ranganathan, author with us. So, Pulla Rao ji, delimitation has to happen. It is mandated. What is Mr. Stalin trying to do here?
Yes, Mr. Stalin is just trying to remind the country, when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister, the 42nd Amendment was passed, number of seats in Lok Sabha was frozen and the assemblies. Then again he is trying to remind the country, in 2002 when Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, they brought the 84th Constitutional Amendment and the seats have remained frozen. He's trying to remind that there is a genuine fear across the country that two things may happen. I'm saying may happen. One is, if this frozen order is lifted, then there will be the same number of parliament seats, but different states will have different number of seats. Second thing is, if the number of seats increase also, and then you use population as a yardstick, again, proportionately, northern states will get more and southern states will get less, proportionately. So he is trying to raise this issue. And I must be fair. About 6 months ago, the Prime Minister himself has said obliquely that, you know, if some people want power according to numbers, will they agree that for the delimitation? He meant, obviously, he's aware of the problem and he's probably looking for a solution. Stalin wants to remind, I imagine, the whole country or South India, whatever, that should it not be better to have an early resolution and say you freeze the seats, or what is the formula, so that people don't feel hurt and cheated. This is a genuine issue, whether it's Andhra, other places. Two issues. The changing of number of seats state-wise with the same number of parliament seats, or increasing the parliament seats, and then there will be a disproportionate apportionment. So that he is raising an issue. It's a political issue. The government of India should come forward, amicably resolve it, And I think they will resolve it. They will have a frozen
Okay,
order
Umanandanji,
shortly.
your thoughts?
First, I would like to tell that, as you told, the narratives, the fake narratives are changing every 2 days, 3 days in Tamil Nadu because their dishonest politics is being blown to pieces by our leaders, by both central and our state leaders. First, I would like to ask their language, the 3-language policy, which they went on telling Hindi is imposed, Hindi is imposed. When we were trying to say, ask them to show in one place where we are imposing Hindi, while the schools run by all the partners of this Tamil Nadu ruling alliance are running schools which have this 3-language formula. So our leaders question, is the 3-language formula only for the rich kids and this ruling party politicians' kids, not for the common person who is studying in the state-run schools? Should they not be benefited? Why is that being denied? So when this truth was told, they have to set another narrative. So the next fake narrative is now there. Who spoke about the delimitation? Why is Mr. Stalin alone so intelligent that he has seen what is being forecast? Is he like Nostradamus, seeing what is going to happen 20 years hence or 30 years hence? Is he able to see the future while the other chief ministers of South India are dumb? They are not able to see. So why is this fake narrative being encouraged? So again and again and again, why this fake narrative is being taken by the DMK, the ruling party DMK in Tamil Nadu? That is our question. And he cannot, and he has no business as the chief minister to take the people into a panic mode. As the chief minister, it is his responsibility to make the subjects of his state secure. He has no, I think he is going against his oath of office. If he puts all of us into a panic mode, trying to retaliate against a fake narrative, I think he is failing in his duty, and I must remind him about his oath of promise. And again, I would like to say, Mr. Pullarao, to go through the interview given by our leader, Mr. Annamalai, so that he can gain some knowledgeable, truthful, honest points to speak here.
Now, correct me if I am wrong, my understanding is very, very limited on all of this. But so far what I have seen, wherever delimitation has happened, seats have only increased. Seats have not come down. Now, if that is the case, why is Mr. Stalin saying that there will be 9 seats that will be lost? 9 seats will be reduced in the Lok Sabha.
Who gave him this? Who gave him these facts?
You see that?
Dr.
Has any minister came out? Has any minister came out with this? Where did he get the news from? Where did he get the news from? As the chief minister, it is his responsibility to tell who told this.
And also, when you look at size to dynamics and constituencies, etc., it is also a combination of area and also population, density of population in each of the regions. So if there has to be a balance that is created, then there has to be a balance that is created. You can't, Dr. Ranganathan, say there should be status quo when it comes to delimitation and seats that we have in our state. But you have to restore parity in terms of contribution to the exchequer. There you have to have parity, but here you should not have parity. So whatever suits us is what it should be. You know, some of these things, is it deliberately trying to whip up a frenzy, or is he just worried, saying that okay, if there is some shift, something happens, let's be prepared. How is it going to be? What is the agenda here, Dr. Ranganathan?
No, but why deliberate? I mean, if tomorrow Mr. Modi advocates pranayam, Stalin would say stop breathing. You know, this is a blatant move that is full of nefarious agenda. Let me explain it in under a minute. First of all, this thing about less number of MPs will get Tamil Nadu is based on a report which is non-peer reviewed and from an American university years ago. And it takes into account if there are no increases, then Tamil Nadu will get 9 seats according to a US university non-peer reviewed report, number 1. Number 2, my good friend Mr. Rao talks about, look, Stalin is only reminding the people of India. Well, why doesn't Mr. Stalin remind the people of India what Jawaharlal Nehru said about Periyar? That, you know, key should be thrown away and he should be locked in a lunatic asylum. Why does Mr. Stalin not remind the people of India it was Mr. Karunanidhi who wanted and advocated for one nation, one election? Why doesn't Mr. Stalin remind the people of India that back in February 2008, Mr. Manmohan Singh undertook the delimitation of 24 states. And finally, why doesn't Mr. Stalin remind the people of India that the three language policy was advocated by his ally Congress back in 1968 to the Kothari Commission. So Mr. Rao, there are a lot of things that Mr. Stalin needs to remind the people of India. But let me remind you that there are two options out here. If the number of seats increase to more than 850, then Tamil Nadu will get 11 extra MPs. And Uttar Pradesh, every state, as Anand correctly says, logically, and it is true, will get more MPs. So this kind of scaremongering is unacceptable, undemocratic. The Delimitation Commission is by an act of parliament. If you don't respect it, you are not partaking in democracy. As simple as that.
Mr.
I just want to say, yeah, you see, that's exactly, I'm thankful you have said, confirmed what I said, Doctor. It's very nice of you.
Will you stop agreeing with me all the time, Mr. Rao? Please stop agreeing with me. Last debate also you agreed with me.
You made my work very easy. And
it's not good for debates. Stop agreeing with me.
Exactly what I said. You see, you said if the seats go to 850, Tamil Nadu will get 10 more. But if the seats go to 850, Uttar Pradesh from 80 will go to 120. Now, where do I get this logic? That's what is being talked about. That's what I said earlier. There are two fears. One is that the existing number of seats, 543, the distribution within the country will change. Two, if you increase it, then this proportionate business. Now, you have 100 rupees. I give you 10 is 110. Madam has 200 rupees and she gets 220. The difference goes on. That is it. And I sincerely believe it is time for the government of India, Narendra Modi ji.
But is 100 is the same as 200, sir? Is 100 equal to 200? Sir, 10% of 100 will be 10, 10% of 200 will be 20. You can't say, oh, in numeric numbers 10 is less than 20, so you are giving him more and you are giving me less.
No,
sir, what logic is this, sir?
If Tamil Nadu goes from 40
I
to
hope
50,
Tamil Nadu government schools teach better than this.
See, Uttar Pradesh
Mathematics and application of logic. Sir, please, Tamil Nadu population, very respectfully, Tamil Nadu population is 8.53 crore people and they have 39 seats, sir. Uttar Pradesh population is 26 crore.
What is 20% of 40?
26 crore, and they have 80 seats, sir.
8 only.
Does Uttar Pradesh have commensurate representation, or does Tamil Nadu have more than adequate representation to ratio of population? Sir, how are we supposed to look at this then?
20% of 40. 20% of 40 is how much? Please do your mathematics. So Tamil Nadu will get more than 20%. While if it is 100, 120, 20% of 120 is how much? So UP is getting less when you compare it to the percentage. So please learn your mathematics.
I'm also saying you should actually be turning around and saying that states like Uttar Pradesh, they are a huge state, sir. They control 26% or 26 crore people live in Uttar Pradesh. States like Bihar are all highly populated states. The delimitation has population as a consideration. Now, if that has to happen, then states should get commensurate representation with respect to population. That is the logic. 1 minute, Umaji and then Pullarauji. 1 minute, one by one.
See, Uttar Pradesh was divided into how many states? Tamil Nadu, has it been divided so far? Uttar Pradesh, how many states have been carved out of Uttar Pradesh? How many states have been carved out of Tamil Nadu?
Uttaranchal, that's all. 5 MPs.
There.
5 MPs, that's all.
What about Tamil Nadu? Has any other state been... What is has Tamil Nadu been divided? Andhra Pradesh has been divided.
Tamil Nadu has lost Andhra Pradesh, parts of Mysore, parts of Kerala.
No.
My God, that was independence. Don't talk about pre-independence. That was the entire
now you are saying 10% of 10. On the one hand, you are saying 10% of 100 is 10 and 20% of 10% of 200 is 20. 10 is greater, less than 20, so it's unfair. On the other hand, you are saying pre-independence era Tamil Nadu lost land. Sir, the erstwhile state, it was not even called Tamil Nadu. It was not. It was called the province of Madras. So, I'm just saying we are unnecessarily arguing for arguing's sake. The point is, sir, this for Mr. Stalin to look at a non-peer reviewed report and also defy logic and to try and generally drive up a frenzy. First they said, language imposition. Then they said this one, delimitation and less seats for less representation of Tamil Nadu. Is it just deliberately trying to revive some 60s formula that will perhaps work for them? It's not going to work, sir. It's 2025. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
No, I'm afraid what I'm going to say, Mr. Rao might still agree with me yet again, but I need to say this. Look, couple of points out here. This is not a case that we can make in all honesty. There is, as I said, an act of parliament. There are people, there are cutting across party lines, leaders, politicians, including mathematicians, who are going to sit and decide based on population. Just to give you an example, the Uttar Pradesh population is 4 times the population of Tamil Nadu, and yet it only has twice the number of MPs it has. Now, is that right? Is that wrong? We are not to decide, Mr. Rao. And just like Mr. Stalin and all the southern states who are not BJP ruled states always complain why they are getting less share from the State Finance Commission, it's the same thing. There are mathematicians sitting there as well.
So clearly there is more to it than meets the eye in the way the narrative is being spun, and there is more to it than meets the eye in the way this entire delimitation process will work. I thank all our guests. We're going to wind up. That's the end of this edition of The Right Stand. Stay with us. Brass Tacks after the break.
Co-powered by
Our focus is on achieving a ceasefire as soon as possible and ultimately a permanent peace. My meeting with President Macron today was another important step forward in that sphere because he's been very much involved right from the beginning in trying to get it over with, and we're going to get it done. I believe that Emmanuel agrees with me on many of the most important issues. Chief among them is this is the right time. It may be the only time, we're working on deals right now, transactions right now, and in particular, the big one is to get the war stopped, whether it's ceasefire or direct to an agreement.
I think it's good to have discussion. I think it's useful to have negotiation. I think it's super important to go to the peace. But my strong point was to say, let's try to get something first which can be assessed, checked and verified, and let's be sure that we build sufficient guarantees on the short run, and this is where we are ready to be engaged. As for France, a lot of my European colleagues are ready to be engaged, but we do need this American backup because this is part of the credibility of the security guarantees, and this is our collective deterrence capacity. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for the time.
We want peace. And I think the initiative of President Trump is a very positive one. Be careful, because we need something substantial for Ukraine, but for the security of Europe and France. And second, let's work together on the future to preserve security guarantees, meaning to be sure that this peace will be respected by Russia. First, to have a truce. I think it could be done in the weeks to come. During this period of time, we negotiate on security guarantees, land and territories, and it will be the responsibility of the Ukrainian president. Reconstruction. The US will have the deal on critical minerals and rare earths and so on.
Fine.
So we have to negotiate with the US, with the allies, with Ukraine, which type of security guarantee makes sense. It could be first, increase the capacities of Ukraine to maintain a strong army. We worked very hard together with the UK Prime Minister to have a French-UK proposal to say we are ready to send troops, not to go to the front line, not to go in confrontation, but to be in some locations, being defined by the treaty, as a presence to maintain this peace and our collective credibility with the US backup and the US backstop. We didn't tariff the US. We want to cut red tape for us as Europeans, and it will simplify the life of your companies, fine. But I think the solution in this very moment is not to increase tariffs. Why? Because the emergency is to increase our defense and security expenditures. I understood your priority is to put tariff on China because President Trump said they are unfair with us. Come on, you cannot have a trade war with China and Europe at the same time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate the attention. Today's a big day in that we had a G7 and President Macron is a very special man in my book. We were together, we did it together, and I think a lot of progress has been made. We've had some very good talks with Russia. We've had some very good talks with others, and we're trying to get the war ended.
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The CAG report on the Liquorgate scam has been submitted in the Delhi Assembly. We are now learning new details of the scam that happened under the